Hi there, cheers for stopping by. So, yeah, life in the old dog yet, or life in the old cat yet. So, we all know that the Cougar 2 Works has now arrived, and a very lovely buggy, very popular. My one concern is that now this is out, people are just going to abandon and neglect the Cougar Classics, because obviously this being out, it's the latest greatest. Yeah, it very well may be. I've given this a little run out. You can't really see, it's not going to pick up on the camera, but there's a bit of stand on it. So just after Christmas Day, I went up to Robin Hood for the Tamiya Junkies, give it a run out of the box setup. It was great other than tyres, but this is all about showing the Cougar Classic some love. So this is mine. She's now sporting a lovely new body shell, courtesy of Peter Priest. So this is getting ready to run at the Model Sport 50th anniversary. So a few little jobs. It had big bores on, I've ditched them. I'm going back to the original classics. So these need a bit of a clean and a rebuild. So we have some rebuild kits to do front and rear. And I've also now again got some of the O-ring grease, which I'm guessing I've thrown away. So we've got the Speedworks O-ring grease to go into the shocks. And I decided just to treat the car a little bit. So I've got some of the alloy roller drive shafts. Now, if you know the story with them on the Cougar 2 Works, is that the Cougar 2 Works ones won't fit. I think the too short is what the answer is as to why they don't fit. But these, I think they're about £20, something like that. So I thought, right, I'll treat Trigger's Broom to a new set of drive shafts, get some of the alloy ones. So what we're going to do in this video is basically just get this all back up and running. So we'll take the body off, because those of you that haven't seen this in the past, there are a few upgrades that it has that are staying on. So starting up at the front, so the shock tower, it's one of mine that I got Fiberlight to make up, so it's basically a copy of their tower, but it's a lot thicker. It's like 5mm thick, so it's a lot more sturdy. 2 adjustment holes, because it is actually, I think, 5mm higher, because when I had the big bars on it, it needed a taller shock tower. I got round that in the end, replaced this with the pucker parts shock tower, so the front and rear. So the rear is the pucker part, so it's a bit similar to the Cougar 2. I'm leaving that one on because it's on, and I've gone back to this front shock tower purely for the fact that I want to keep the nose cone. I know you can just cut them off, they can be stuck down, but I wanted to keep it original. Obviously we've got the carbon fibre chassis from JC Racing. We've got the white rear arms. I've not bothered with the white front arms purely for the fact that I've never broken a set of fronts. We've got the brace up on there, which gives a little bit more support to the front, and it's not really going to show up. But just in there, we've got the carbon fibre steering track. Is it going to show? Yeah, I can't quite see it. But we've got the carbon fibre steering track from Kevin Fenrick Engineering. We've got his rear lay shaft bearing holders. We've got the Pro transmission. We've got the Schumacher alloy eccentrics. So the rear shocks, I've rebuilt these already. So I've only got the fronts to do, but I've got a few more sets because the Pro Cat's getting brought back out and back to the Schumacher cars this year. So looking forward to it. So without further ado, we'll have a quick look. If you're interested in building up these alloy rear drive shafts, and the shock. You don't get an instruction sheet in here on how to build them. If you've got a Cougar 2 Works, you'll find. If you don't, you can go onto the Schumacher website and you can actually download the Cougar 2 manual, and that's got all the information in there on how to build them. But we'll build them up, get the shocks rebuilt, and then that's the car hopefully ready for next weekend for the Model Sport 50th. So let's get some tools out. Right, so we've got the drive shaft parts ready to come out. So your part number for these, U8680. They're the rear only. They won't fit the front. So obviously your Pro Cats, they won't fit on the front because of the crash back, I'm guessing. And they will fit the rear. So your XLS, your Top Cat, your Cougar, your Pro Cat, and I'm guessing the Boss Cat. It doesn't say on here that they'll fit the Boss Cat, but I'm pretty sure that they will fit the Boss Cat unless you are running Works rear end. So obviously if any of these cars, you get the Cougar 2 Works rear arms, hubs, I'm not too sure. I think you'd still run it. I think it's only if you run the Cougar 2 Works gearbox, because obviously that brings the drive shafts, rather than being at an angle, they're more direct. But these will fit the cars as listed there. So if you don't have the Cougar 2 Works, you won't have the manual. If you go on the Schumacher website, you can just get it downloaded. So what we're going to do, going to go through. So these are your small little roller bearings, teeny tiny things. You can get these as an actual bearing rather than just like a little bush like these. I completely forgot to see if they were in stock, but I'm not too bothered. Anyone that knows me and my driving, I just race to have fun. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So the first part is you fit two up on the top. So you've got your little pin on the top, put the little bushings on either side, they just push on, and then your little plastic cap, slide that on one of the small O-rings, and then I've already done it, but you just put a little bit of molly grease just on the shaft. I never really know how much of that stuff to put on, so I've only put a small amount on. But yeah, hopefully there's enough on there. I'm guessing it's just to let everything move nicely. And then this bit just pulls through. So that's like your inside. I think it's all the way in. That's it, all the way in. So on to the second step. You basically get in your little, this part here, building up this. So up on that part you get one of the 6mm O-rings. That goes on. And then your little end bit, and basically you just need to line these up, so it's not the easiest to say, but you've got a little hole just in there, and in your drive shaft you've got a hole, or the out drive, and basically you've just got to make sure they're lined up so that the hole is all there. So the easiest way is just put them together, spin it round till you can see all the way through, get one of your little pins, and that's where you might just need to give it a little wiggle, push it so it's all flush, and then you get one of the bigger O-rings, one of the 9mm, and that just goes over, and that just helps to retain your pin. So we'll get that on, and that's that on, and then a bit more molly grease just in here. Like I say, I never really put loads of this stuff on. I don't think you're meant to put a lot on. I don't know if you're meant to, but I personally don't. Because to me, it's just going to trap dirt. So it just wants a little bit to let it move freely. And then when you're lining up, basically you've got to get, it's hard to see, but you've got the two little rollers, one either side. You've got the little cutouts, and that just needs to slide on in there. I struggled doing this on the Cougar 2, to be honest, getting it to push in. There, just get that pushed in. That's on, that ain't coming off. It's not the easiest thing to push in. I just, one of the edges on there, just put it in there, give it a nice little push, and she goes in. Then we get our end cap, and again you've got your two holes to line up. Get that in, get your next pin, and again this is where you just need to do a little jiggery pokery. Get the pin, push it in one of your bigger O-rings, and slide that on, and that's your drive shaft all done. Right, so moving on to the shocks. So these have, so I've already got the Teflon pistons in these, which fingers crossed we're going to be able to get again soon. That's all I'm going to say on that. So U7172, that's your shock rebuild kit. So that's for your XLS, Pro Cat, Top Cat, Cougar, Classic. This has everything that you need in. It's got all the seals. So I've already pulled these apart, and then everything is in there that you're going to need. So make sure again, get everything out. Come on, out you come. There we go, empty bag, nothing left in there. That can go in the bin. That's off for recycling. So you do need a special tool to get these out. So those of you that know these, you need a little circlips. Some people I've seen have success using these, and to be honest, this is my first time using these. They do work. So there you go. You can do it. You can, if you're brave enough, do it with a flat-headed screwdriver. You can just try and just get one of the holes, pull it in towards you, because you're not going to reuse these because you get new ones in the pack. If you bend it back out and break it, not the end of the world. But if you want to do the job properly, then some of these pliers are what is needed. But to be honest, like I say, first time using these, if you've got a set of these that have got a really good point, I don't see why you won't be able to just use them. So pulling these apart, it's just everything you get new in the seal kit. So when you pull out them all, you'll have your two orange O-rings, your little black washer, your little clear one which goes on the outside. So you get a little brass insert in there, which is where your two little small ones sit, and then you need to push this out. Whether there's any right or wrong way on doing this, sort of pulling it out from the front, I've always just found there's a bit of a lip and you can just push it out from the inside. And then once that's pushed out, it'll probably come out with no seal on the end and it'll just be stuck inside. So pull that out and that's your other little seal. So once you've got your little insert out, just give it a little clean. If you've got them to hand, the little cotton buds are ideal for doing this, but I'm all out just at the moment. We'll just give her a good clean up. They've been apart for a while, so I know that the oil is all out, but we'll give her a little wipe just on the inside. So we've got it all cleaned up, ready to go. So we've got the O-ring grease, Speedworks. Wind her up, out she pops. And then you need, firstly, some pliers. Makes it easy to pick these things up. So this is the bigger one out of the two, and this is the one that sits over the little brass insert. Give that a clean, forgot all about that. And then that will just go on over the top there. But before we put it on, give it a little smear in the lube. So this basically just helps prolong the life of them, makes them easier to build, makes the shocks a bit smoother. So once you're giving that a little coating, pop her on there, and then all I do, put her on the end on there, feed that through. And basically when you're going in, you want to make sure that the O-ring doesn't start catching on the end. Push that in and then push it all the way home. And then when your shocks go back together, you'll have one O-ring, or well, not O-ring, washer, spacer, and then the little plastic end cap. I like to just lay them out in the sequence that they're going in, and then I know that I'm doing it all and I'm not forgetting one. So again, give that one a little rubber down, and then our little spacer goes on. So just make sure they're all sitting in properly. Give it a little push down. We get our next seal. Give her a little dab of grease. And then she goes in. Make sure she's all seated in nicely. And then your little clear washer is the last one to go on. Give that a little tap down, and what I always do is just get a box wrench, get the 5mm end, and then just give it a little push, just to make sure that it's all seated in, because obviously you've got your little lip underneath where the O-ring's going to go in. I'll put cap back on that for now, and then your O-ring, your E-clip. So the E-clips are sided. It's not going to be the easiest thing to show up, but you've got a rounded side and a flat side. Yeah, it's really not going to show up on here, but this is your rounded side, and then that side's got like a end on it there. So easy to show. So your little E-clip in the Cougar classic instructions, it tells you that the rounded side goes to the inside. So you've just got to make sure you've got it the right way around. It's not the easiest thing to see, like I say, but how important it is to get that the right way around. I'm guessing the square side makes it sit in a lot better. So we've got it right way around there. So we've got the rounded side at the bottom. And then I always put my thumb just on the top, because these do have a tendency to ping off. That's it in. If it's not seated properly, like that one, you can just push it down and then you'll hear it clicking like it did there. And that's it all done. And it's just a case of putting a bit of oil on the end just when that goes through, because obviously you don't want this bit tearing away at the new seals that you've just fitted. So I'll get these built up off camera and then we'll get to fitting the drive shafts and the shocks back on. Right, and that, as they say, is that. So we're all done. So obviously final setup will be done next weekend, but it feels all right. It's maybe too soft, but because it's not, I don't think it's a high grip track next weekend, it should be all right. So we've got a nice base setup, 400 weight oil in the back, 400 up front, 3 old pistons, 2 old pistons. But yeah, we are all done. Shocks all freshly rebuilt, new motor in, and that's all done. So we've got the transponder in, got my new battery connectors on this ESC. Motor wise, obviously got the Amy Booth models, 13.5 in it, purely for the reason that for me, I don't really need the power of a 10.5 all the time, but also in April we're off to the Euromasters and I'm taking this as my 2-wheel drive entry, and the Pro Cat is going to be my 4-wheel drive entry. So that is it. I've not done the ball race steering. There is a bit of slop in there, but I don't want to do it purely with the fact that when you do it, sometimes it can just need a little bit of time to bed in. And next weekend, I won't really have the time to look at it properly. So it is what it is. It's going to go out as it is. So there you go. If you've got your Cougar Classic, plenty of upgrades out there that'll keep them running competitive. Up on the front, the nose weight, I've not got the I can't remember who it is that makes them now, can't remember his name, sorry, but I've got just the normal stick-on weights. All I do is I get a bit of thick Lexan and then just clamp it down, because if you have a front impact, sometimes these can have a habit of pinging out, so it just means that they're going to be kept in there. So that's it. So tomorrow is a club day on the Sunday, so I'll be running the Gravelhound. That's its first outing of the year. It's a fully booked event tomorrow at the club, so there'll be a lot of people out there. And then next weekend, Model Sport 50th, I'll be up there filming, and we shall see how the old girl gets on. So cheers for watching, take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, guys.